Are you ready to learn how thought leaders make money, or better yet, how you could make money as a thought leader? Stay tuned. Being a thought leader presents all sorts of opportunities, and there are so many ways to monetize them. And that's what we're going to get into in this episode. But before I do, I just want to share with you a little bit about my story so you can learn some of the lessons that I learned the hard way, the easy way, without having to go through the mistakes that I made. So as someone who was positioning myself as a thought leader for many years in the area of coaching and personal branding, I was a speaker, and I followed a very traditional business model as a speaker. I tried to get paid to speak. Now, this is one of the most standard ways for a thought leader to make money, is they get hired and paid by corporations, associations, organizations to get up on a stage and talk about what they know. Better yet, get up on a stage and share an experience with an audience that will have that audience be transformed. And that's a great way to make money. However, it gets old fast. What I found was I was living my life on airplanes and in hotel rooms, and I was getting sick a lot. I was on the road most days of the year, and on the road doing work that was pretty grueling and intense physically, emotionally, and mentally. And so I tell you this story because for a long time I thought that was the only way as a thought leader that I could make money, until I discovered a whole new way. And the way I discovered it, sadly, was that my business crashed and burned. I had an emotional and mental breakdown, to be honest, in my personal life, that basically after 2 months of trying to take care of myself and heal and taking my eye off the ball in the business and canceling engagements and not going on the road, my business fell apart. There was no revenues because I had depended on this constant hustle and new gigs all the time. And so as bad as that situation was, it also was an aha moment. I call it the uh-oh that led to the aha. And so the aha moment that I had was that as a thought leader, I needed to learn how to monetize my content rather than monetizing my time. So this is a big lesson I want you to think about, right? As a thought leader, you could pretty easily go out and rent yourself out in the market. You could hire yourself out, and you'd be creating a business where you could generate a good amount of money. And you'd also be singing for your supper. You'd constantly need to be working, ing, in order to make money. And so what I want to share with you is a methodology that I came up with for myself that's worked really well, and I've used with my clients to monetize not your time, but your magic instead. And what that means is monetizing your intellectual property, monetizing your systems and your processes that you've developed over time, monetizing your content in ways that doesn't require you actually being on the road working all the time. Sound like a plan? Let's go. So the formula that I discovered has 3 parts, 3 essential parts, and a 4th and 5th add-on part. So the essential parts are the front end, the back end, and the big back end. So what this looks like is, as a thought leader, you're going to get a lot of opportunities to be in front of people. You can get these opportunities from speaking. You can get these opportunities from interviews. You can get these opportunities from social media. You can get them from word of mouth, from referral, right? So if you start to think about all the times that you're in front of an audience, all the times that you have the ability to influence other people with your thought leadership, if you start to reframe that, instead of as trying to get paid to do those opportunities, just trying to take all the opportunities you can in front of an ideal audience that you really want to serve on a longer term back end basis. So you need to start thinking ahead. And what this means for some thought leaders is re-strategizing where you're speaking, who you're speaking to, right? So the front end is really the marketing. It's all your thought leadership getting out to as broad of an audience as possible, and then taking those opportunities and moving them into this back end. Now the back end becomes some sort of foundational program that all roads can lead to. And the reason I like to do this is because this model is simple. Yes, you could have diversified revenue streams, 5 or 6 things that you're selling, but that creates confusion, and it does create diversification, but it can also dilute your efforts. So what I love is for you to think about, as a thought leader, based on your signature system, based on the work that you've developed and what you've learned how to do, could you package all of those things into one core back end, which I call a foundational program? It looks different for different people. No one foundational program works for everyone. And there are 2 types of foundational programs that I've seen work really well with thought leaders, especially when they have a lot going on the front end. The first option that I like is a retreat. So this is a great option for you if you love being with people, if you're someone who really enjoys being hands-on and getting in front of a room full of people. If you really love people and you want to focus in that direction, then I love the 3-day retreat model. Now, I'm not going to go deep into the 3-day retreat model, but I have a lot of information out on the internet that you can find, and you can also go to retreatstorichesroadmap.com if you want to learn more about this specific business model. The second model that I love is a 6-week virtual course. A 6-week virtual course that people, now my favorite format for this, and you can do this in a whole bunch of different ways, but my favorite format for a 6-week course is to deliver 1 module per week, along with maybe or maybe not 1 live call per week to help people. So you can offer people this 6-week course that includes a live component or doesn't include a live component. You could even upcharge for the live component, make that a VIP program. So price points that I've seen work really well here, and these are by no means set in stone, but a price point that I've seen work really well with retreats is from $1,500 to $2,500. And in fact, when I implemented this model for the very first time, I charged $2,500 for my retreats, and I was selling it on the back end of all these speaking engagements. And just to be clear, for those thought leaders who are like, oh no, wait a second, I don't want to get up on a stage and make an offer and do a pitch and be all, salesy. You don't have to. What I would do at the end of my speaking engagements was simply say to the audience, even if I was getting paid to speak, I would simply say to the audience, now who here is interested in learning more about who we are and what we do, and you'd like to connect further? Raise your hand. Great. If you'd like to do that, come see me in the back of the room. Bring me your business card and write FU on the card. That always got a chuckle. FU for follow up. So front end speaking, simple, very low key call to action. Invite people to come into further conversation with you. And actually what I would call this is one of my mentors calls this a meaningful conversation. So all roads would lead to a meaningful conversation. And from the meaningful conversation, if they were a fit, they'd come into our back-end program, which in our case was a retreat. Hope this is making sense. So like I said, these 2 versions, the retreat, about $1,500 to $2,500 I've seen work really well. And the 6-week virtual I've seen work really well, anywhere from about $497 to $1,497 at the higher end. And the beautiful thing is once you create both of these, you can have the 6-week virtual be a downsell from your retreat. So you could start your monetizing your thought leadership by speaking more in front of your ideal audience, selling into a back-end 3-day retreat, and then adding a 6-week course in case people are not ready or the price doesn't work for them for that retreat. You can offer this virtual course that can also then lead into this. Now, one thing you'll notice when I'm talking about monetization, and this is one of I insist on this with my own clients, is that one thing leads to another, and everything leads somewhere, ideally to a big back end. What I love about a big back end is it has 3 core components. The first is that it has leverage. And when I use the word leverage, what I'm talking about is that it leverages your time, or it leverages technology, and or it leverages your team. So leverage means that fewer inputs create bigger outputs. So what leverage could look like, for example, the way it looks in my business is I have a group coaching program that's my big back end. Now, that group coaching program, we provide a lot of value to them, And one thing that I think is really important to mention, especially with thought leaders, so listen up, superstars, is that we get into this belief system that we are the source of all the magic and that everybody needs us, and that when we are doing something one-on-one, it's more valuable than when we're doing something as a group. This is a belief system that I held for a really long time and is very common among other speakers, authors, thought leaders, right? So there's this belief that we are the source of all the magic. And what I've found is that when we do leverage the right way, for example, the way we're doing it with our group, there can be magic in the creation of leverage. In other words, in our group, what that looks like, what that magic looks like, is now the people in the group who have become ensconced in our culture, in our values, in our language, and all the work that we're doing, and the theories and the strategies and the tactics we share, they're all becoming educated in it. And after a few years of doing this program now, there's people that are helping each other, and they don't require our personal support necessarily. So there's a leverage and a magic that's getting created in the big back end because of creating a group program. All right. So the second thing I love about a big back end is that it has monthly recurring revenues. I hope you're not getting sick of me talking about monthly recurring revenues yet, because I talk about it a lot because it's such a great access to stability. If you're someone in business who is seeing a lot of this in your revenue, then chances are monthly recurring revenue would solve that problem. So if all roads are leading to here and your big back end has monthly recurring revenues, then all of these eventually, not all of them, but a good percentage of these eventually will end up over here. That's the second piece. And the third piece that I love is scalable. And what I mean by scalable is it's something that has the opportunity to grow. And it doesn't mean that it can grow infinitely, right? This group model that we have, for example, it really wouldn't work the way we have it designed now if we had 1,000 clients. But it definitely can double and even triple in size from where it is. So it offers us the opportunity to scale while we figure out, okay, what's next? So last thing I want to do is share with you some typical revenue streams that I see thought leaders use that work really well. So a revenue stream is a coaching revenue stream, a mentorship revenue stream. Another one is a membership or subscription, which you know I like because it's got that monthly recurring revenue. Other ways that thought leaders can monetize their thought leadership is to create licensing agreements. So if you're a thought leader who has really amazing content, and especially if you have a product or better yet, a system that you use to achieve results, then if you can codify that system, if you can turn it into some sort of manual or certification program, then you can license other people to deliver that program for you. One guy that's done this really well is John Maxwell. John Maxwell is a thought leader in the world of personal development and sales development and business skills development. And he's developed a whole curriculum that other coaches go through. They get certified in the John Maxwell method, and then they can go out and use his materials. And then he gets to focus as a thought leader on just developing his content, just developing his methodologies. And even better, he gets to receive all this incredible feedback from his own coaches to modify and improve the program. So I love that model for a thought leader, this licensing kind of certification model. So those are a few ideas. But again, just want to reiterate, like if you're selling your time, that'll work, but you're just renting yourself out and you're just basically creating a recipe for burnout. Highly recommend focusing more on a model like this and be able to monetize your content and your magic instead of your time. Ready for a free gift? I've got the Monetize Your Magic playbook. If you liked this video and this concept, then the Monetize Your Magic playbook is perfect for you. It's going to help you figure out how to align your business with what you're really here to do, with what you love to do and what you do best, and how to monetize it in a way that's recurring and stable. So get your free copy below by clicking the link. See you next time.